Hey Bill, great to meet you today. Just wanted to go through and give you an overview of what was happening with your swing and what we discussed and the points that we worked on that were relevant. Firstly, I'd like to go and overview your swing motion. Now, we talked about a few things. The number one issue in your swing though is the body lifting up through the impact zone here. We should have a little bit of a lifting motion, but nowhere near as much as what you have. The biggest reason why you have that lifting motion is because the club on the downswing, so the hands on the downswing are really releasing and extending out early. So this is overextended through this point here. Everything's a bit too straight and extended out. We can see as you move into your follow through, it continues on extending and lifting, which is to be expected with what's happened in the motion on the downswing back to the ball. The next thing to look at here is, well, why are your hands releasing early? So we understand the body's lifting because the hands are releasing early. So now we need to understand why the hands are releasing early. The biggest reason why the hands are releasing early is because the shaft of the club has a reverse rotating motion through this part of your swing here. We can see how the shaft of the club starts off here and then it tends to shallow out a lot. Now, from this point down in the downswing, when your arms get to, when your hands get to 3/4 of the way back or 1/4 of the way down in the downswing, basically level with your shoulders, the shaft of the club should be maintaining a very similar angle and just turning back towards the ball and straight down towards the ball. Yours are reverse rotating a lot, so we can see the shaft here and the three lines I've drawn have gone from all the way over here, steep, back to shallow, back to a decent position, now back to too shallow. If we draw a line on this club here through the ball, it's actually above the ball, and it gets even more so. So this even gets down shallower again. So the shaft's reverse rotating. So if the shaft's reverse rotating, you're taking out one of the factors that helps you hit the ball straight. So if it reverse rotates and the club shaft will come in blocked, and this will create an open face position, which should make the ball go a long way to the right. Yours doesn't though. Your ball doesn't go to the right because your hands flip. Your hands are catching up and making up for the club's reverse rotation. And that's what's creating inconsistency with your direction and inconsistency with your contact. So what do we need to do? Well, what we need to do is we need to fix that backswing position. The backswing is at the top of the backswing, it's too crossed. So we need to get that club shaft at this point more over this way, more in line with the left arm. The reason why it's too crossed, however, is coming back all the way back to the start of your backswing. So the start of your backswing here right now tends to rotate too much away at the start. When the shaft rotates to this point in this flat position, it's not going to stay there. We can see as the club continues on back, now it's actually back to a pretty good line, in line with the ball. However, that motion continues and everything steepens. So the start of the backswing had the club swinging too flat. Then your natural instincts with balance and rhythm steepen the shaft of the club, but that steepening motion continues on into the downswing. So it's steepening, 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 it stays pretty steep, now it starts to shallow out again and make up for the over steepening. So we need to fix the backswing. Two components we need to fix. Obviously the start of the backswing, we need to get that shaft of the club not rotating around so much at the start. So we gave you a drill for this. So the start of the backswing here, we gave you a feeling. We talked about having a waggle. This is what you're doing here in this position. So that's perfect with your hands. Now we can see how your hands are just outside your right leg. At this point here, we created a little bit of a checkpoint for you. And the checkpoint, we put a T in the body of your club, in the grip, and we want to have that checkpoint pointing directly back at the midline of your body, which is obviously perfect right here now. So before, the club shaft was more around here, which would be pointing more out down away from you, which means the shaft of the club is rotated too early. If it rotates too early in the backswing, that means by the time you get to the top, it's going to be continuing to rotate and bounce around to a cross position, which means it has to uncross in the downswing. So we created a waggle, and this is a feeling that you can utilize on your shorter clubs. And the things that we want to change with this backswing feel is the start of the backswing feel is to get the backswing more upright at the start. This is obviously the first phase and the first change that needs to happen in improving your backswing. So a waggle at the start, get just outside your right leg, and then from there we're going to work on the second half. On the range, I'd like you to try and implement both the first and the second half. The second half of the backswing, we're talking and focusing on what was happening at the top of the backswing, which means, this is this point up here at the top where the shaft of the club gets to that sort of steep and crossed and open. So left hand here is a little bit cupped. When we go and try and flatten it out, your left hand doesn't want to do this as much. So we're going to try and get left hand to be really flat through this back of your left hand, your left wrist here. You can see how it's got a little bit of a cupped angle in here. We want to try and flatten that out. The other thing we want to try and feel like the head of the club, currently it's over here pointing to the right. We want to have you try to feel like it's pointing out here to the left, behind you. So that shaft of the club now, if we were to put a line directly on your left wrist, it's out there behind, which is more what we're after. So the feelings for this, we gave you a specific drill. The specific drill was firstly having the head of the club hover about waist high. This really gives you a specific feeling with the left hand rotating. We can see here the left hand is not doing quite exactly what we want it to, but it's better than where it was, and the head of the club's better than where it was. And the feeling in your swing feels really rotational, which is the number one most important thing. These frames through here now are awesome. The way your hands are working through there is perfect. Okay, so the first one was waist high. The second one was knee high. Same feels. The third one was on the ground beside the ball. Now, all your woods, your longer clubs, these are the feels that we're going to have you utilise to execute and really program in what it is you need to feel. Maybe you need to do some practice swings before if you're on the tee playing with some friends, but anytime you have a chance to play on the golf course by yourself or practice on the range by yourself, we want to get more of this feeling going on in that drill motion. Now there's obviously other byproducts with what's been happening with these particular floors. So the lifting up coming through impact was something that we had a feeling of, or we gave you a way of dealing with that, and that was getting back to what happens with the sternum, the bottom of your sternum and the top of your abdomen. So that's this point about here in the swing, and that's the point that we need to have you focusing on and feeling like it's staying over the ground more in order to hit the ground. With these new backswing feels, you're going to not have to release your hands so early. So if your hands don't release so early, then your body, and your body keeps on standing up, you'll hit it skinny. So in order to fix that, we need to have you feeling like your body is staying more over the ground. Well done today, Bill. Nice to meet you, and I look forward to hearing how your practice goes, and I'll send you an email here with this link. All the best, sir.